This is the Cruger-DePeyster plantation sugar mill ruins. It was built in 1830 and it's just west of New Smyrna Beach. It was built by Henry Cruger and William DePeyster. They were from old New York money families, and they convinced their friends and relatives to invest in a sugar mill industry in Florida. And for a while it was very profitable. John Dwight Sheldon was the overseer, and it was only in production for 5 years, from 1830 to 1835. On Christmas Day in 1835, the Seminole Indians launched a surprise attack. John Dwight Sheldon had heard rumors of an impending attack, and he fled with his family and some of the slaves. The plantation was powered by slave labor and horses and mules in some cases for the machinery, but it was a steam-powered sugar mill. So John Dwight Sheldon and his family fled across the Halifax River, and the Seminole Indians at night, on Christmas night, they burned down the plantation, all the outbuildings, the sawmill, and the sugar mill. Now the machinery and the stone walls were intact, not destroyed by the fire, but that ended the sugar production here at this site. Let's go take a look at the ruins. Now, Cruger and DePeyster had purchased 600 acres of land from Episcopal minister Ambrose Hull in order to build this plantation. It's a good view of the sugar mill and its environment. And around it you see palm trees, you can see live oak trees, and a slash pine. And this sign discusses some of the controversy and ill-informed interpretations of the sugar mill. Back in the 1890s, a travel writer named Bradford Torres speculated in his book, A Florida Sketchbook, that the ruins were a Spanish church and perhaps built by Christopher Columbus himself. Now, this was printed in the Atlantic Monthly magazine in 1894, and that became the established story of the sugar mill. But it wasn't until much later, in 1941, journalist Charles H. Coe wrote a scathing critique of the so-called Spanish mission. He rejected that origin, and they did an archaeological dig and found that it was indeed a early 19th century sugar factory. And we have acquired a lot more information since then. And this interpretive sign discusses the use of coquina, which is the native stone that was used to construct the sugar mill. And it's composed of mollusk shell fragments and quartz sand, and bound together by calcium carbonate. And in this case here, we can feel the texture, and it is very like a scratchy, rough surface that you could cut yourself on. And to give an idea of the type of texture that we're talking about, along the wall here, and this is a good example here, you could see the mollusk shells. Very scratchy type surface, and these would have been carved into stones, quarried and carved into stones. And another room. This would have been a much larger structure, and you could see the remnants of the walls. You see the outline, the foundations of more structures inside the sugar mill. And these are the magnificent arched windows in the complex. And a larger view. And you can see some of the compartments. It's walls are crumbled. They're left in the state that they were. And a close-up view of the sugar mill vats. Two large ones, one medium-sized one. I'll try to get a look inside. And these are solid iron, and they've withstood the test of time. You can see some of the upstanding walls as well as some of these foundation walls, which may have been, stones may have been removed by local citizens for use in buildings over the years. And this is some sort of well or vat duct where the sugar was boiled. This chained off section is a portion of foundation of some structure associated with the mill. It could have been overseer's office or other associated building. And this interpretive sign discusses some of the sugarcane mills that were horse powered. Of course, this was a steam-powered mill, but poor farmers would engage in the sugar mill industry using horses or mules for their power. This is one of the few remaining pieces of machinery from the sugar mill. This is some more machinery that's dotted around the compound, and it looks like it has to do with some grinding type of purpose. And this appears to be some sort of furnace. Oh, okay, actually it's a boiling vat. So I guess the fire would be lit from underneath, and the sugar would boil in this vat, and there would have been multiple vats inside of the sugar mill. Now they're calling this a stray relic, and they believe that it could be part of the Cruger-DePeyster sawmill complex, as it was not only a sugar mill but a sawmill that they constructed